Sean Don here, and today I'm breaking down my throw from the Olympic trials. Yeah! Welcome back, my friends. If you are hip to the channel, then you know that back in November I made a video explaining how I fucked up at the Olympic trials. So that initial video was for me to kind of start processing that whole ordeal. And additionally, it gave you guys some context around the whole event, which I hope was useful for you, as I think there were a lot of lessons to be learned. One thing that I still have not done yet though is go back and really sit down and examine and dissect the footage of what went wrong on the day. And in hindsight, what was also going wrong with my technique in almost all of my other competitions last season. So in that initial video, you hear me say the following regarding one of my throws. I was like, all right, I just need a little bit more juice, a little bit more tension to feel to kind of help balance me out. And then, unfortunately, just didn't set it up well. Didn't have enough weight over my left side, lower body wasn't connected again, and the same thing, hits the cage door. Some of those things I still think are true, but some of them I think are a little misunderstood based on the things that I've been learning and experimenting with over the past couple months. So let's examine these statements. What did I say I needed? More tension. Sure, that would have helped. What else? I didn't set it up well. I still sort of agree with this, but for different reasons than I previously described. I say that I don't have enough weight over my left, which I sort of agree with again, but now I have a better understanding of why that might be. And lastly, my lower body wasn't connected, which still holds true, I think, without a doubt. But I think the big question when it comes to these things is, are these things just a symptom of the problem or the root cause themselves? To be totally honest, it's tough to say what really is the cause of anything in Hammer, as it depends person to person and how things are interpreted. Coaching Hammer, or really any event for that matter, is an art. It is most definitely not black and white, but rather many, many shades of gray. But regardless, I want to break down all of this for you guys and give you a little insight into what I think was really the root cause, at least for me personally. So, after spending a few hours, really breaking down the film in depth, frame by frame, I think I've got a much better idea of what was going on. At its most fundamental level, Hammer's all about connection, in my opinion though I think others may agree, probably. What exactly does that mean? That can be answered by one question, in my opinion, and that is, can you feel the tension from the hammer growing consistently throughout the throw? If you've been throwing hammer long enough, you might know what I mean. If you're truly connected, then the throw feels automatic and almost effortless. You might even say that it might feel like the hammer's pulling you through the throw rather than you forcing the hammer along, which is a really magical feeling if you ask me. So basically on the day of trials, I've concluded that my connection was shit. No surprise there. That's the root cause in my opinion, but I want to take a deeper look at the film and kind of elaborate on that. There are two throws that I'm going to use to explain all of this stuff. The first is my second throw from trials, because that's the only video I have from the back of the ring. And then the second is a 78-meter training throw from earlier that cycle, which I think was a pretty good technical throw in my opinion. So, trials breakdown. At first glance of the comp throw, nothing is too out of the ordinary, honestly. Shoulders and hips are level, arms are pretty relaxed, but I found something interesting while comparing to my training throw. Stay tuned for that later, it's not the time for it now. So, winds, satisfactory, I suppose. As for the entry, watching the comp throw, this is where the whole throw kind of goes wrong in my opinion. The entry sets up the kind of delicate dance that is the hammer throw, and if that's off, then it's hard to get that feeling or that connection back kind of mid-throw. The old throwing adage that I've heard many times is, if you start right, you end right. That's so true. And this is a prime example of how I'm not starting the throw right. You can very clearly see that the entry is rushed. My left side leads the ball pretty hard and starts shifting back to the right before the ball even gets to zero. As I've recently learned as well, the left side sets the direction of the throw, in my opinion. Knowing what I know now, it's clear that while watching this throw, I was going to cage it unless I pulled some sort of immaculate recovery during the turns because the entry was just messed up. Additionally, with that left side being so dominant in the entry, that means my left shoulder is kind of going to be where I felt all of the tension, which also hampers my ability to connect with my hips and feel my lower body working. Moving on through the throw. Entry's not great. What about the first turn? Decent first catch. It looks like a decent first catch if you look at the position and the movements a little bit. The ball's in the direction of the sector. The hips are pretty much under me, sort of, and I'm relatively long through the upper body. As I go through the turn, you can see the right side is turning and tries to be connected, but the left side isn't stable yet again. It shifts back to the left sector line as the ball goes through zero, rather than kind of back to 180 to establish that good direction. An object in motion stays in motion is a thing that I think about in this moment in time. This sort of left side shifting back is going to be a repeating pattern through the throw. Towards the end of the first turn, it gets worse. The left side's taken over even more, which can be seen easily if you look at this sort of wonky left leg. The hips aren't connected, and then that kind of makes it a little heavy on the right side, which creates a dramatic lean headed into the second turn. In that second turn, my left side continues to dominate. Like I said, an object in motion stays in motion. My direction is totally misaligned. I'm shifting once again back towards that left sector line. My hips aren't under me, and I don't have as much separation as I did in the previous catch, which makes me feel heavy as hell on that right leg, and my left is barely on the ground, which is another indicator. My right side is doing its best to hold on as I turn, but like my left side just keeps saying fuck you and shifts back and sends the direction down the left sector line yet again. I keep trying to work out of it, but come single support, I've got this substantial lean, which is very noticeable if you look at kind of the angle of the hips and shoulders. So the third turn, at this point, the throw has like really gone to shit. I catch over rotated almost with no separation. The left side, of course, can't help but pull even more at this point to try to keep tension with the hammer. You can see the right side finally breaks, and you see that the right leg is not really turning well at all. Headed into that final turn, the last catch is the latest catch in terms of where the ball is at. I over-rotate a bit and then have a nice lean again, and the left side yanks even more to try to keep up with the ball. At this point, it's kind of like watching a car wreck in slow motion. There's no way I was going to save this throw unless I like totally disconnected and reconnected magically. So yeah, mostly starts right in the entry. There's not much direction in that left side. It's shifting back, it's not very stable, and my connection is just not good. If you look at the views of all three throws from, the camera view out in the sector, it's essentially the same. Connection's poor, direction is lacking, entry is unstable, and hips are not connected. So let's compare it to a very solid training throw from earlier that cycle. In terms of the winds, the positions and the movements are quite similar in this training throw when compared to the competition throw. But the most fascinating thing that I noticed while I was breaking it down frame by frame, comparing one another, is that the competition winds are faster, you could say perhaps even rushed, while the training throw winds are a little bit more deliberate, probably leading to a more natural tension and better connection. The idea that I needed more juice in my competition throw was probably my first mistake during the throw. And to be fair, this also goes back to poor strategy and focus, as I alluded to in that initial video. I was thinking, let's go smash an 80-meter throw rather than just execute a nice rhythmic 75-meter throw to get me through to finals. So dumb. Moving through the entry, it's quite the opposite of the competition throw. You can see how much more stable and patient the training throw is. The left side holds and has slightly better direction. It's not as noticeable here as what I'm focusing on now and present day, but regardless, you can see the right leg loaded a little bit more as the ball goes through zero. It's working a bit better. The hips look a little bit more connected and more engaged as opposed to the left shoulder taking over like it did in the competition throw. It's a much better start. As for the first turn, the first catch once again is sort of comparable to the competition throw. The left side is more relaxed, the hips are more connected, and the right leg is working better. As the ball approaches zero, left side direction is much better here. You can see the line of the right leg working up and back through that left shoulder, kind of exactly opposite of the ball. This has kind of been a key position for me as of late. The hips stay connected and they stay working, which means a tidier and better balanced single support and a much nicer catch than compared to the competition throw. For the second turn, the hips are under me and you can see the pressure back against the ball. The left side stays patient, while the right leg is working well. Once again, a very solid position as the ball goes through zero. Direction is much better. Hips are working the shit out of the ball. Once again, a tidy single support and a clean, deep catch. Into the third turn, as I said earlier, an object in motion stays in motion, and that holds true here. I started the throw better, I'm connected much better, and the turns are essentially a repeated pattern of one another. Good right side pressure, hips are connected, I'm staying patient and long with that left side. And sure, the left side gets a little ahead in turn 3, but the direction is still really solid, and the right hip works up well again in double support. And then, of course, another tidy single support. That's my favorite word right now, tidy. It's nice. Headed into the final turn, much better catch position than in the comp throw. Once again, the right side is way more engaged. The left side is long and relaxed and stable, and the hips work up for a nice, smooth, and relatively balanced delivery, at least for myself. Yes, the legs, once again, kind of straighten out a little bit, but I'm not perfect, and this is good for me. All in all, it's a much better throw. Like I said, connection was just there. Patience was there. Direction was there. It was great. So that's kind of what I think made the difference. On the day, I didn't have the connection, the patience, the timing, the rhythm, the idea, the focus to execute what I needed to. And also, I didn't know what I needed to execute at the time. I've learned a lot over the past 2 months, and I look forward to implementing it. What am I working on moving forwards to fix these things? Well, as you guys saw, I can do the things I need to do in training. I just need to be able to transfer them to competition. Now I have a better idea of what it takes to do that. Basically, I'm going to slow things down a little bit more to feel better natural tension rather than creating tension. I think I just need to set the direction better with that left side in entry. I think if I do those 2 things right, that means I'm going to set the system up right, and then I just got to let the rest happen. For the first time in my life, hammer feels like pretty simple, which is cool. I'm excited to get another, 10,000 throws under my belt with these ideas and see what comes of it. So there you go. The most in-depth technical breakdown you'll ever see of an elite hammer thrower for free. And it's here on my YouTube. Pretty neat, huh? I think you should subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys enjoyed this content, I highly recommend you check out my Patreon, linked down below in the description. I post daily training videos chock full of cues and ideas that I'm working on every single day, and you get exclusive access to my actual friggin' training log, everything that I do, how far I throw, lifts, percentages, all that stuff, it's there. So go check that out. I gotta give a big shout out to my first 2 patrons, Agna and Joe, for signing up. They're the first 2 to hop on the bandwagon, so much love to them. Click the link down below in my description, check it out, join the community, ask me some questions, get to know me one-on-one, and learn some things, and it's great, and you guys are gonna love it, so go check it out. Lastly, I have one favor to ask. If you guys have found any value in this video, all I ask is that you share it with just one other person, literally just one person, your teammate, your coach, DM it to a random person on Instagram, I don't care, just share it with one person. That's all I ask. It helps me grow my channel, helps me get the good word out about the hammer throw to the external world who otherwise has no idea about it. So yeah, if you do that, I would really appreciate it. So thanks for watching. Remember, grip and rip, baby, and I'll see you guys later.